Hi folks, this is Hariom for CBNR. Today we are going to talk about another issue which is plaguing physiotherapy in terms of research. Lot of people start citing something, say for example, it's been proven that this particular scale is reliable and valid. This is one of the common things they write in either in a post-graduation dissertation or in a PhD dissertation, right? Now, most of the time, I believe that this type of citation uh, ruins our primary purpose. I'm going to it's not always a problem, but most of the time it's a problem if you don't do a sort of a complete literature review on the treatment as well as the tools, the outcome tools we are going to use. In this video, I'm going to use uh, modified Ashworth scale as an example of how it is so commonly used and what are the issues with it. Right. So we'll just look into some issues of the Ashworth scale. Now, as you know, Ashworth scale is traditionally an Ashworth scale was uh, a 4-point scale, right? 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the 80s, Bohannan and his colleague, they made a small modification into it so that they can do a research, and then they studied the reliability of it also, right, whether it is a reliable tool or not, right. This is the article which started it all, right. It was in the 80s, late 80s, I think. And this is where we had this idea of having a 1 plus 0, that kind of scale was this is the scale they have seen whether there is a reliability or not. As you know that it is to measure spasticity and things like that, so I've not gone into details of all these things. Now, the if you read the paper, right, the first thing you will see is uh, the reliability was between uh, the authors, right? You can see that each patient was tested by his or her therapist, one of the authors, and then by the other author, right? So these two people are doing reliability research, and they themselves are the testers, right? As people who have who have learning about research will tell you that if you do your research and if the objective is to find reliability and you are the testers, then you are going to have so much of bias. You are going to say that it's a reliable tool. How will I say that I did it and it is not reliable? That doesn't happen that easily. So that was the first problem. And then they said that they also did it for only the elbow flexors. It was not done for this. It was not done like that. It was just done for the elbow flexors. They didn't do it for the lower limb or things like that. So we also know that there may be some issues if you do it in the other joints also, because of the way we move and things like that. It seems to be slightly flawed to just do it in the elbow, but they have done it. That is not the problem. The problem is people use it for all the joints, and it is one of the highest cited articles, right? It's cited 4,000 times more than that in Google, and probably around 3,700, something like that, in journals and things like that. Right. So what else is there an issue? One of the earlier people to raise these red flag was a person called as Pandyan. He's from Kiel University. He wrote extensively in the about the properties of the MAS, that is your modified Ashworth scale. What are the problems involved in that? It is the reliability is poor and all sorts of things, right? So this was done in the early 2000s, right? In 2003, in 1999, he also did a review also. And if you see, a lot of people have reviewed the properties of the Ashworth, and these are the major problems they have come up with. Right, there is no standard testing procedure. That is the one of the biggest problem. Mostly when I teach how to do MAS, I usually tell people that you have to move the elbow like this, and when you are moving it like that, you have to say 101, right? That is, you have to do the movement within 1 second. That is, if you say 101, it is 1 second, right? Because we know that the speed also determines the resistance what we are feeling. But that is not always true. There is no guideline of how to do this test. The other problem is because any muscle which is in a sort of a contracted position for a long time changes its viscosity, thixotropic properties, and all those things, and the tightness from that property and spasticity cannot be differentiated that easily, and the sensitivity in terms of that is whether you can differentiate one plus two, all these things, or a lot of people have said that it is also very difficult to differentiate between even experts, not just novice or some things like that. And most of the time, even if they find some reliability between the scales, you will see that the above said problems, these problems, the one and two, are mostly about the validity of it also. Um, the elbow and wrist and knee seems to have flexors have some amount of reliability. The others have very poor reliability. So these are the problems they have identified. Now, when you are doing a research, right? This is the problem there. Mr. Pandyan has identified and other people have identified. And then if you are doing a research in 2018-19, what will I do is, really? These are the problems? Okay, this is how I overcame them, or I will not use these scales, right? So just to say that people will just keep on citing this again and again without reading anything. I'm going to just show you something uh, which I think is extraordinary. So what I've done is I've just put modified Ashworth scale and stroke. I deliberately put stroke because most of the guidelines about evidence base and all those things think that you should not do use modified Ashworth scale on people with stroke. But that didn't stop, right? What you can see is I've also the publication dates I have restricted to only last year, right, from 2018 January to till date, and you can see that there are sorry there are 139 articles, right? 139 articles. I have not gone through the whole thing, but most of it I just randomly thrown in inside and saw what was there, and most of it has used the Ashworth scale, right? That was really surprising. If I look into the whole 15 years, 20 years of it, it comes to hundreds and hundreds. That's why I've restricted to just 1.5 years or something like that, right? The other thing you also see is, as I told you, the reliability of the ankle is one of the problematic areas, but no problem. Again, you see that I have restricted to only from 2000 January. You can see there are 37 articles they have used for ankle. Again, I have not looked into the whole thing, but I have just randomly gone here and there, and most of it is about ankle. They have used happily about ankle joint. These and also you remember these are not just simple researches. They have all sorts of researchers from all sorts of labs and things like that. And basically, these are worthless research most of the time. But some of them have, but at the same time, some of them have not used Ashworth as a major tool or a primary scale. They have also used other things. But I don't know why they have used the Ashworth here, right? So this makes it the research itself uh, very questionable, right? And I think this is the reason for this is because of not reading it and just writing. Ashworth scale is a reliable and valid scale, right? So next time you're doing research, don't get into this idea of just writing that this is a valid and reliable tool, just citing some other person, it keeps on snowballing like that. Go and review by yourself, see what is the problem in this scale, what can it measure, is it really measuring what it is supposed to measure, all these things before using that tool, right? Thank you so much. Thank you for watching our video, and subscribe to our link to subscribe to our channel to see more videos like this. Bye.